From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 11th, 2020. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin formally received the results of the March 2nd national elections in Israel from the head of the Central Elections Committee today. Supreme Court Judge Neil Hendel presented the results to Rivlin at the president's residence in Jerusalem, where the president said this is the place to remind party heads and elected officials that this House and I personally are at your disposal for any serious and genuine conversation you may wish to hold. Any agreement, he said, that produces a stable government that gains the trust of the people will be welcomed. Rivlin urged Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz to accept a plan that he proposed to them back in September that saw Netanyahu as Prime Minister with Gantz as Vice Prime Minister, also allowing for Netanyahu to suspend himself indefinitely from the role in order to deal with his indictments. Rivlin said, "I am certainly aware of the criticism the framework received. Nevertheless, I did not believe there was another way, and it seems that even today, the situation has not changed a great deal," referring there to the fact that neither Gantz nor Netanyahu have enough seats to form a coalition at present. Meanwhile, Gantz met this morning with the head of the Labor Party, Amir Peretz. There have been efforts between Labor, Gesher, Meretz, and Blue and White to form a minority government that would have outside support from the Arab parties. Yesterday, Labor Gesher Meretz's number 2, Orly Levy Abekassis, said she would not be a part of such a government, seen as a major obstacle now for that minority government to be possible. But in a joint statement today, Gantz and Peretz did not address Abekassis's decision, tweeting that the two leaders agreed to continue their strategic partnership and to continue with efforts to form a government, harnessing all the partners in the political system to prevent Netanyahu and Likud from dragging the country to a fourth election. Again, neither Likud nor Blue and White have a majority of Knesset seats for a majority coalition at present. Israel has set new regulations in response to the coronavirus, requiring now that all Israelis returning to Israel from abroad self-quarantine for 14 days. Non-Israelis will be allowed into the country for another 72 hours, but then have to prove that they have a place to self-quarantine for that same 2-week period. Netanyahu said this is a tough decision, but essential in order to protect public health, and the public health comes before all. And by the way, the Israeli vaccine for the virus, which we reported to you about last month, is still on track to be ready for testing in a few weeks, but would still be several months away from being actually available. The vaccine stems from something the Migal Institute in northern Israel has been working on for 4 years, which is a vaccine that can be customized for a variety of viruses and has now been adapted for the coronavirus. Well, the Must Be a Soup Kitchen network in New York is at it once again this year, celebrating Purim by aiming to fulfill the mitzvot, or good deeds, of the Jewish holiday, which began on Monday. The nonprofit Kosher Soup Kitchen and Pantry provides hot meals for hundreds of New Yorkers in need every day. And for the Purim season, they receive donations for matanot le'evyonim, Purim meals and packages for those in need. And of course, Purim is a time of celebration and joy with the delivering of mishloach manot, baskets and plates of snacks and sweets to friends and family, and with children and adults dressing up in costumes in Israel and around the Jewish world. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, March the 11th at 7 o'clock, we bring you programs from the recent AIPAC National Policy Conference in Washington with remarks from U.S. Vice President Mike Pence, presidential hopeful Joe Biden, as well as Mike Bloomberg and others. That is followed by a panel discussion of the 2020 U.S. elections with Paul Begala, Bakari Sellers, Brad Todd, and Alice Stewart. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with Yegane Mafaher and Eitan Levine, the Muslim-Jewish comedy duo, who talk about their respective personal journeys that led them to team up to create their stand-up Shalom Habibi comedy tour. At 10, it's a discussion on Jews and Muslims with Rabbi Mark Schneier and Imam Shamsi Ali. And coming up right after this newscast, Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, March the 11th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader.